Six Stages Gaming is brought to you by GamersGauntlet.net. Check them out for all your single, sealed product, and playmats.
Hey guys, welcome to another unboxing and product review by Six Stages Gaming, sponsored by GamersGauntlet.net and Ultimate Guard. And hopefully you watched our other video, but really quick if you haven't, this is the new game that came out at Gen Con. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's funded. Make sure you guys go check it out. But without that long introduction, I'm going to really just get into this. I have all four of these decks that are going to be up eventually. I did Gnost and Incarnate will be up this week, if this should be the second video. And next week I'll go over the Corp classes and have the other two, Heracles and the Glassman. But really, if you guys like burn decks, if you want to burn out your opponent, this is absolutely the deck for you. Deck is based all around on psionic events, and it really has a way to just burn out your opponent's resources and really just whittle them down. So we're going to get right into it. Again, one of the things I really like, when you open the box, you're going to have these cards with 3 different backs. This is going to be your resource deck. This is going to be your main deck. And then this is your business and your founder. So let's get right into it. Now the one thing I'm going to take a quick note to mention, if you guys haven't checked it out, on Kickstarter, because they're funded now and they have any Kickstarter over $88 will get a free metal card. And guys, these metal cards are absolutely sick. They're $100 value, and I'll take this out just so you can see it. It's actually like truck metal. Like it's you could hurt someone with this card if you threw it hard enough. And what's really great about these, as you'll notice, there's only the 4 different factions, and this is kind of the generic card that you need that can go into play in multiple decks. So if you ever want to play, if you like the theme of one of the different factions, you just buy this metal card. You can always have it on the table with you for every match you play. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But we'll go into it again, just super high level overview of going through the cards. You start with 10 million money or 10 million health, and your business can produce 10 of each attribute in a pinch. Going into it, we have Illithis, or however you pronounce her name. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that, but as you'll see, she has a very strong ability that lets you search your deck for any psionic event. So really what that means is she can tutor for burn spells or tutor for these, you know, pretty strong effects. And she has some pretty decent stats. All the founders really do. And the other thing to keep in mind is, as we're going through this, she has 3 Magellan cell tokens, and those become relevant because they combo with certain other cards. And there's other cards that let your other characters get those cell tokens so they can also be buffed up. So let's just get right into it, and we'll get into some of the cards. Some of these are going to be just kind of vanilla basic characters, but I'm going to go through them just so you guys can get an idea of what the artwork looks like and how amazing it is. I mean, that's really what caught my attention. I absolutely love the artwork for this game. So it's definitely finally like a sci-fi trading card game that has some really nice artists behind it. So we'll just kind of go through some of these cards, and I'll stop when I see one that's, you know, really interesting or one of the ones that reminds me of some of the things that you can do. So some of these I'm just going to stop on the first one just so you can read the card. You can pause the video if you'd like. Yeah, so Banshee is really good. Suppressor basically says unblockable is kind of a way to think of it, saying that they can't do anything about it. But what's really great about it is it has open market, or it lets you put a card into the open market. So you get it's card advantage is really what it is. So you're playing a burn deck that has these card advantage creatures that let you get to more of your burn spells. It turns out it plays 4. This one's nothing special, just kind of a vanilla character that you want to put into play. Again, these vanilla characters are pretty important because they also can be engaged to produce resources for you. Powered Armor, this is, I believe it's in 3 of the 4 decks. The interesting about this, it works like equipment where it goes underneath your character, or some of them go next to your character, like in your 3x3 square that you'll end up building. So some of these cards will go underneath your character. They'll either get that bonus, you know, this must be destroyed first. It might have a couple different things. Different rules that are associated with it, or it'll go next to it on the field, then it can protect, rather, the ones that are adjacent to it. So this game becomes very, very important about what cards you're placing where, and it's amazing how, you know, strategic you have to be with your placement of your cards. Tidal Wave, now this is definitely worth stopping on. There's this really unique mechanic with Crisis. So if I play this card first, it's going to absolutely devastate my opponent's board. It's probably going to get me, you know, either caught back up or maybe even a little bit ahead. But the problem is, if I'm not doing this for the win, my opponent gets to search his deck for one of these cards and play it right back at me. So that's something to definitely keep in mind about what you're going to be doing and how much, you know, it might hurt if you're not, you know, if you're not behind and you're not going to really get caught up that way, it might hurt. Yep, so this is the card. So it's a rare, that's what the gold thing is for. It costs 6 emotional quotient, or EQ, which is kind of high, but again, this deck is all about building up the cells. And this is basically just saying, hey, I'm going to draw a bunch of cards because I put all these cell tokens on my leader, and you're going to draw into all your burn cards. Upkeep 3 million, but with Disruptor. So again, this is basically Trample saying, I'm going to hit you for 3, and Disruptor, again, is a very, very, very strong effect, and then that's also why this guy has an upkeep of 3 million. So again, if you see anything with Disruptor, get that on board, get that going. Now this card, Psionic Scream, is really kind of the bread and butter of this deck, and it can kill surprisingly amount of things, because it deals 3 damage, but again, it checks against that 1 stat or IQ, so if they have only 1 or 2 IQ, which you'll find out most cards do, this is actually just a removal spell for a lot of cards. So this is definitely a very, very strong card. I mean, going forward, it's something that I would want 4 of in a deck, if not more. Or sorry, 4 is the limit, but if I could run more, I would, is what I'm trying to say. And it's also a psionic event, so you can tutor it up when you need to. Speaking of psionic events, this is another one you can kind of tutor, and Mindfire. Give you a second to read it, but what this does is you put it on your opponent's board, and then you can burn things around it on their upkeep. So this is definitely a very strong removal-based spell. And it's just kind of another burn effect that you can try to whittle down their resources. And then Stealth Field is interesting because they can only be attacked once per turn. Generally, you can attack something multiple turns because damage persists. But if you have Stealth Field, it can make your guys really, really hard to get rid of. And then this is just another character assassination. It can just be another removal tool for you as you're trying to burn through their deck. Next, I'll go into some of the resources. So again, your resource is a 20-card deck. It's going to have, you know, generally 3 different types of cards in it. This is just what's in the starters, but some of them are really important. You'll notice that some have effects that go with certain factions. So this just says whenever a cell token leaves play, you can distribute its tokens to 1 or more characters. So obviously this card's really, really important. You spend your game building up the tokens, putting them on your characters, and then this lets you save them, essentially, instead of losing all that hard work. So yeah, the card's great, but it costs 2 million, so it might not be something that you want to have, you know, turn after turn after turn. On the flip side, here's our 0 million, which is kind of your basic resources. Gain 1 million a turn, can produce these if you engage them, which again, engaging is turn upside down. So that gives you your free resources in the game. You'll see there's quite a few of them that are in the deck. There's usually a 0 million, a 2 million, and a 4 million is how they're broken up. So then we'll have the 4 million one. Produces 3 of the body quotient, or BQ. Cash flow is, if you engage it rather, cash flow is 1 million and 1 EQ. So the other thing to note is this can't be bought out by your opponent on these 3, or battled with your opponent on these 3. It can only be battled by a body quotient. So again, unless you're playing the incarnate deck, that's kind of hard to get through. So these decks do have kind of this rock, paper, scissors already built into them about what stats that they can battle on. Each faction kind of has its own preferred stat, and it has, you know, scattered point distribution in the rest of them. And again, there's just a few of them that are in here as well. So again, that is our very, very quick overview of Illithis, or again, sorry, however you pronounce your name. If you guys haven't, make sure you check out the Kickstarter link. I mean, you can get a starter deck for 20 bucks, or I think they're doing 2 for 38 with free shipping now. So if you want a burn deck, if you want a deck that's going to be casting basically a lot of spells, if you're a red mage from Magic the Gathering, then this deck is absolutely going to be the one for you. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Check out next week where we go over the 2 other types of decks, and make sure to check out them on Kickstarter. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next video by 6 Sages Gaming. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and leave us a comment with what you thought of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to 6 Sage Gaming and check out some of the deck spotlights, duel series, and Force of Community videos that are already on the channel. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter, so feel free to find us there. Lastly, if you have a deck that you would like featured in a video, be sure to drop us a comment below. Until next time, take it easy.